Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Joey. It came out yesterday in the news that apparently Luke Rockhold has been offered two separate dates to fight Khamzat Chimaev, one being August 28th, a main event against Khamzat Chimaev at middleweight, of course. Luke Rockhold's not going down any further than 185. He's fought at 205 before, but he's not going down to 170 or anything like that. And apparently Khamzat Chimaev turned both these fights down. And the news came out a little bit before I did my live chat yesterday. We talked about it on the live chat, but I figured it was worthy of doing its own video because this is interesting for so many different reasons, and you can think about it from so many different angles. First off, the UFC is so desperate to give Khamzat Chimaev a name. And, we've seen it with the Leon Edwards fight. They rescheduled it three separate times. It's very rare that they ever do something like that, especially for a non-title fight. It was originally supposed to happen in December. And if you remember, Leon Edwards was kind of finicky about taking that fight, and they removed him from the rankings to kind of force his hand in taking that Khamzat Chimaev fight. Number 3 guy taking on an unranked guy is pretty much unheard of in the UFC. Then, stuff happened. It got rescheduled for January. Then it got rescheduled for March. And then now it's just over and done with at this point. There's a chance that it still could happen, but who knows. But the UFC wanted that. And if you followed my channel for a while, you've heard me said this multiple times. The UFC wanted Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards so badly, and they were so thirsty for it, because if Khamzat was able to get a win over Leon Edwards, they were giving him the next title shot without a doubt. But it's a very weird look, the fact that he's turning down a Luke Rockhold fight. And I'm not going to complain a whole lot, because he could be, kind of playing a game trying to look for a bigger fight. But you have a former middleweight champion in Luke Rockhold. Khamzat, has talked about he's going to smash everyone from 170 to 185 to even 205. He says he's going to look at Jan Blachowicz to take Jan Blachowicz' belt. And it's just weird, for that whole persona and that cult following that Khamzat Chimaev has, for him to be turning down fights. And, Luke Rockhold hasn't fought since, he lost to Jan Blachowicz and was brutally KO'd. Before that, he lost to Yoel Romero, and I think it was an interim middleweight title fight, or it might have just been middleweight title fight. I don't even remember at this point. I think that was right after GSP vacated. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. But anyway, Luke Rockhold's coming in on a 2-fight losing streak. He hasn't fought since 2019. And I think that it was just a bad matchup for him. And I think he thought, Luke Rockhold's takedown defense, plus, Luke Rockhold has some seriously underrated jiu-jitsu. I think, in his prime, he had the best top game, maybe in MMA, maybe in the UFC. Look at the way he was able just to take down and control Chris Weidman, who was known for his grappling and jiu-jitsu. And I just think, for me personally, even though Luke Rockhold's a bit of an unknown at this point, he's been off for a while. He's on a 2-fight losing streak by stoppage. His chin is a liability. I would have favored Luke Rockhold in that fight, But I just find it, a little bit weird that Khamzat Chimaev is just, his whole persona is fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. And he's turning down a fight against Luke Rockhold, who's a big name. That win, regardless of, if it would have had any merit or not, considering, people would have said it's a wash, Luke Rockhold. And I get it that maybe he was thinking of that, and that's why he didn't want to take the fight. But that would have been a huge name. The former middleweight champion, Luke Rockhold, a big win over that. And Luke Rockhold's chin is suspect. So there's a chance, if Khamzat's striking is as good as some people think it is, that he could have KO'd Luke Rockhold and went on to bigger things. But again, I'm not going to shit on him too much, because maybe he's looking for a bigger fight. Maybe he's trying to get the UFC to rebook that Leon Edwards fight after the Nate Diaz win by Leon Edwards. A lot of people look at Leon Edwards as a little more beatable now. So maybe he's campaigning for that. Maybe he's looking for something bigger than that. Who knows? I don't know what else he could be going for. But I think it's super odd that he's turning down fights. And I think it's also just so crazy that the UFC is so thirsty to give Khamzat a name. Luke Rockhold, obviously, regardless of what you want to say about him, he is a name. And I know, again, Khamzat could have been thinking, well, if I beat Luke Rockhold, people are going to take it away from me. They're going to say, he's been KO'd left and right. He's washed up. They would have made every excuse in the book. But the reason I can't accept that from Khamzat is because look at the names Khamzat's fighting before this. He's had 3 fights in the UFC. John Phillips, Rise McKee, and Gerald Meerschaert. I think only Gerald Meerschaert is even still in the UFC. So So, you know what I mean? He's already fighting nobodies. He's fighting bums, and he's getting hype off of those. So even if you want to say, the fans and the MMA media will say, oh, well, Luke Rockhold's washed up. He's old. He's been KO'd a lot. He's chinny. Uh, he didn't have any problem taking these other bums on. I really believe only Gerald Mearshart is still in the UFC. Uh, I don't think that Rise McKee or John Phillips is still in the UFC. But if not for Luke Rockhold, what I wanted to also give my opinion for in this video is if not Luke Rockhold, who is Khamzat Chimaev fighting next? And obviously, his excuse for why he turned down this fight is that he wants to focus on 170 right now. Obviously, that Luke Rockhold fight would be at 185. So who's really available right now? Supposedly, according to Dana White, Kamaru Usman's defending his belt against Colby Covington next, so that's not happening. Number 2, Gilbert Burns is taking on number 4 in Stephen Thompson. Leon Edwards is available. He just fought, so maybe they're going to try to book that for a 4th time. I don't know. Vicente Luque is taking on Michael Chiesa. So 5 and 6 are tied up. Jorge Masvidal, I don't think that's happening. I don't think Jorge Masvidal is going to take that fight. That's a terrible matchup for him. If Khamzat, the hype is real, I think that's a terrible matchup for him. So then really all you have left is Neil Magny and Bilal Muhammad. So unless Khamzat, maybe he's really scared of what, his illness did to him over the, months and months that he was dealing with the illness. And he wants I don't want to call Neil Magny a tune-up fight, but if he doesn't want to jump into that deep end of the top 5 at welterweight, I think it has to be Neil Magny. But still, I don't think he's going to get a lot of hype from that. I mean, I guess so if he finishes him impressively. But we've seen what happened to Neil Magny, against Michael Chiesa earlier this year. And, that's a stylistic, easy matchup for Chimaev, even though Neil Magny is very well rounded. And I mean, does anybody? I'm a little bit so I'm kind of hypocritical here because I hate seeing guys who don't deserve, certain fights get fights. But with Khamzat, with all the hype and all the talk, I just want to see him thrown in the deep end. So for me, I kind of hope they rebook that Leon Edwards fight, and maybe the UFC will try it. I don't know. Maybe that will be the Tony Ferguson Khabib, and maybe we'll actually get it this time because I think Khabib and Tony Ferguson was booked 4 times and it never happened. But I wouldn't be super hyped for Neil Magny, but it would be a more realistic test for him, considering he's fought nothing but trash cans at this point. I'm high on his skills, but at the same time, I have to pause a little bit because look at the level of competition that he's fighting. It's not the greatest level of competition at all. Again, only 1/3 of the guys he's fought are still in the UFC at this point in time. So anyway, let me know in the comments, who would you like to see Khamzat Chimaev fight? Do you want to see him fight somebody outside or barely in the top 15, or you want to see him fight someone in the top 5? Another name I could mention is Santiago Ponzinibbio coming off his win. You got Li Jinglang. There's no shortage of matchups for Khamzat Chimaev, and we know, according to the UFC, according to Khamzat, and according to his manager, that Khamzat wants a fight in August. So, it should be announced soon. It's already, getting to be almost early July. It's about to be the end of June, right around the corner. So let me know in the comments, who do you want to see Khamzat fight next? Like the video, please. I would appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching.